honored to present the Rivers Inlet exhibition today. My name is Corrinne Wolcoski, and I am a landscape painter. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about my background, how I developed my painting process, talk about my adventure to Rivers Inlet, and then share with you what inspired me to create some of these paintings. I've been asked how long I've painted, and I honestly don't have an answer. I've painted as far back as I can remember. When I was young, I was extremely shy, and I would paint for hours, escaping into an imaginary world of beauty. I graduated from grade 12 as the top art student, and I studied fine arts in Kelowna at the Okanagan College. I was missing the most important tool it takes an artist to be a success: confidence. So I moved to Vancouver and I studied in university for 7 years. And this is the only time in my life I haven't painted. So for 7 years I worked full-time. I went to university full-time studying genetics, biology, chemistry, neuropsychology. And something was missing. I had an extremely horrible event that happened, and it kind of shook my life to the core. And I had to reinvent my dreams and find what really made me happy. So I went to the art store and I bought a 4x6 foot canvas. And that week I did a painting, and all those memories of my childhood and those happy moments I had came flooding back. And that was when I realized painting's ingrained in the very fabric of my personality. I love the West Coast. That's where I get my inspiration. And there's something about being in the pristine beauty of it that just completely surprises and inspires me. So whenever I need to escape to that place of calm, I go to the West Coast and I just spend time on the ocean. Part of my painting process is I will take my paint box down to the beach and just sit there for hours observing and painting. I'll compose the painting into a small sketch. And then what I'll do is I'll wait for the magic to happen. The light will come through and the landscape will just glow, or there'll be some kind of vibrancy in the sky, and that will be the moment. And so I've composed the landscape, and I'll remember that moment and I'll put it in, and I'll take that back to my studio and do bigger pieces. When I went to Rivers Inlet, I wasn't able to set up on the beach because it was so rugged and there were no beaches or shoreline. It's just a really rugged, raw nature landscape, completely untouched but beautiful. So plan B was to go out on the fishing boats. So I went out on the fishing boats for 8 to 10 hours a day and just spent time on the water, watching the light travel through the mountains. It was just incredible. It really gave me a sense of scale and how small we really are in this world. And the beauty that we have in this West Coast is so incredibly immense. So what I did was I watched the light come through, and the fishing boats will go to the same place several times, either that afternoon or the next day. So we kept going to the same spots and spending hours in one place looking for fish, which let me look at the light traveling through. And I was having 4 or 5 of those moments where the light changes and there's that inspiring moment where I know I've got a painting. And this was happening every day I was out there, so it was exciting. And when I came back, I had 6 months in my studio painting this exhibition. And I will get to about 75% of a completed painting, and I'll toss all my reference material. And then I'll remember how it was when I was in that landscape, and I'll paint from experience and from that feeling of being in it, and that profound beauty that I feel looking at that landscape that I can't describe, but I can show you in my painting. So having all of these works in my studio at one time really brought to the surface how incredibly beautiful this part of the world is. And the nice thing is I've aligned with the Nature Conservancy of Canada. And so all of this area that I've painted is protected, and they've done a lot of work in conservation up there. So when we look at one of these landscapes, we know that this area is actually going to stay this way, and it gave my work another layer of meaning, because I'm sharing with the viewer an area that they may not see in their lifetime. And being able to capture the beauty of that area that I see and translate it to the viewer, I'm hoping will build their value for the beauty we have in the West Coast as well. This one is called Philip's Head at dawn. And we arrived into this estuary where there's a 7-year salmon run, which is another side effect I had, was I learned an incredible amount about this part of the world on this trip, which builds an even bigger awareness of it. The sun came up because the weather had been pretty miserable and the clouds had just started lifting. We headed out about 6 in the morning in darkness, and when we got here, it was just starting to get light. And then the weather broke, and there was this beautiful glow. And it wasn't like the intense, vibrant red sunrise. It was just a really soft, pinky yellow glow. And that was the inspiration for this piece. Each piece that I've done in this series is from being on the water and from having one of those experiences. So this is actually the same area, and it's just a different time of day. It's the same estuary draining into the ocean here. And what inspired me about this piece was the fog and the way it just sits so softly in the hill, and you can just see it floating through. And there's a real beautiful quality in the light. And I'd like to invite you to see the show. There's 14 pieces, and they're all from these moments that I hope I can share with you. Thank you.